Today we're making Chinese steamed buns, also known as Bao in our Huiping dialect, also known as Baozi in Mandarin. So when you make it yourself, you get a real nice, chewy texture. First, I'm going to proof the yeast. So I have the active dry yeast. So to get the flour started, you put half a teaspoon of yeast with a quarter cup of warm water and a quarter teaspoon of sugar. The yeast will increase by double. That means the yeast is active. So this is called proofing the yeast, to make sure the yeast is actually working. So just add 3 cups of all-purpose white flour. And then you add 1 teaspoon of the second one. And add, I'm just going to give it a quick whisk here. So that's the third one. So I'm going to add a cup and a half of water. I like to add water that is slightly warm. Then I take the end of a ladle and just stir the flour and the water. So just mix it up, especially on the bottom there. Then you can add the active dry yeast. So just mix that all in. So then just take a piece of saran wrap, cover the bowl. Let that stand for about 10 to 12 hours. Keep it away from the cold draft. I just leave it on the counter till the next day. So this batch of dough has been rising for about 10 hours. Let it stand for at least 10 to 12 hours. You can go up to 18 or more hours if you want. So what I do is just take some flour here, spread it over the cutting board here. So it's kind of sticky because when it rises for about 10 hours, it's very sticky. So what I'm going to do is just dump it out onto the board here. So it comes out pretty nice and clean. So what I do is just add a bit of flour, and then it's ready to use. So for this batch, I think you can probably make about 18 to 24 Chinese buns, Chinese bao, or baozi. So just put a little bit of flour on there just to get it less sticky. And then what I do is usually just fold it once left, fold it right, fold it from the front to the back, and then fold it over one more time. Put it in a bowl. My mom is going to make some baozi now. So that's what it looks like. The dough, it's ready for the next step in making baozi. So you need a little flour to put on a plate or a cutting board. A little bit harder to work with, but the dough will be really nice and chewy. So put about 2 tablespoons of the ingredients and just wrap the dough around the ingredients. So it is a bit sticky to work with, but I like the texture of the dough when you eat it. It's nice and chewy. So you can use wax paper or parchment paper to put the bun on there. You can use any kind of filling for your bao, your baozi. You can use stir-fried roast pork or barbecue pork. Just add some celery, onions, and peas. Add a little water and thicken the sauce with cornstarch. So you can use anything that you want. So this is what we happen to use today.
Oh yeah. Homemade. Homemade.
Yeah, it's homemade, so it's as good as the dough is as good as any store-bought dough, even better. So I'm really looking forward to the next run here.
Baozi.
Oh, Baozi. In our dialect, it's Baozi. In Mandarin, it's Baozi. And I just call it Chinese buns. So any way you call it, it's still delicious. So as you can see, it's very sticky, but it's going to be very, very tasty. There you go. There you go. So just steam the baozi for 15 to 20 minutes. It's looking really nice here. Wow, that's nice. Yeah, very nice.
Baozi.
Huh? Oh, that looks good. That looks good. And I'll put another one down there. So by the time I finish, I usually ate most of the food already. Hi. So the dough is nice and fresh. It's been rising for over 10 hours, so you get a real nice chewy texture. I'm going to make baozi dough for Chinese buns. So that's the same as the bread dough with 1.5 cups of water, 3 cups of all-purpose flour, and a teaspoon of salt. So the only difference between the 3 batches is the pizza dough. I put 3 tablespoons of olive oil. I put double the amount of salt, to 2 teaspoons of salt. But this is the basic dough that I use to make pizza, bread, and Chinese buns. I'm going to make a loaf of bread. So I've got the dough to rise for about 10 hours right now. I have coconut oil. So the coconut oil, I'm going to grease the bread pan. So this is like a loaf pan, standard loaf pan. Just put the coconut oil. You can use any kind of vegetable. Just grease the inside so the bread doesn't stick when it comes out. So this is a simple bread that you don't need to knead. It's been rising for the last 10 hours. Ideally, it should be anywhere from 12 to 18 hours. And the dough, you can probably use it for a couple of days if you don't want to use the whole thing. Just cover it up and put it in the fridge. So this is the pan. It's all nicely greased up. So this is what the dough looks like. It's been rising for the last 10 hours. It's actually about 11 hours right now. So the dough, you just use a spatula. Just give the flour and the water a good mix here. Take the whole thing, put it right in. So it will shape itself as it goes. So this is what it looks like. Put the bread in the pan. You take a piece of cellophane and cover the pan. So this will let the bread rise for another hour. You can go more than an hour, maybe 2 hours if you like. But I usually go about another extra hour here. So just let it rise. The oven I preheated at 350 degrees. On to 350 degrees. We're going to put it in for about 45 to 55 minutes. So it looks like it's pretty good rise on the bread. So we're ready to bake the bread right now. So you see the bread is in the oven now. Preheat the oven at 350 degrees. You bake for 45 to 55 minutes. So I'm just going to check the bread here. So it's got a pretty good rise on it. I'm just going to flip it around. So this is just before the halfway mark. So I'll do a little bit early before I forget. Bread in it. So go all the way down to the bottom. So it seems pretty dry. So the bread has been in the oven for about 45 to 47 minutes or so. There you have it. Fresh homemade bread, fresh out of the oven. Enjoy. So on a pizza pan, just grease it with cooking oil. I use coconut oil. I like coconut oil because it has high heat resistance. So just go around the pizza pan. So put a little bit of coconut oil on it. So just any kind of standard coconut oil you can use. The one I use here, it's just a standard brand here. So use a standard brand of coconut oil and just put some coconut oil on the pan just so the pizza doesn't stick. So just rub the coconut oil. You can use cooking oil such as canola oil or corn oil. So just spread some cornmeal over the pan like this. So the next step you need to do is take the dough out of the pan here. So I'm going to put some flour here on a cutting board. So the recipe that I use here, you can make two pizzas. So when you use a spatula, you take the air out of the dough. So it's nice and chewy. It's going to be a nice pizza. So just dump all the dough in there. There should be enough dough for 2 pizzas, like I said. There should be enough dough for 2 pizzas here. So I'm going to divide it in half. So just cut it in half like this. So put some more flour. So it doesn't have to be perfectly round, but when you roll it out, make it nice and even. Okay, here we go. So I got the dough onto the pan here. I just got to re-stretch it. So it doesn't have to be perfectly round. You can use homemade pizza sauce. Just put 1 big tin of tomatoes with 1 small tin of tomato paste. But I'm just using tomato sauce here from pasta sauce. Works just as well. I'm going to put some cheese on the next layer. And then I've got some chopped bacon. Add whatever ingredients you want. I've got chopped onions. Add mushrooms here. I like lots of cheese, so just put lots of cheese on the top there. So then take some softened butter with garlic and put it on the edge of the pizza, on the crust. So this will help keep the crust being soft on the edges. So this is an option you can do. So just pop the pizza in the oven. It's been preheating at 450 degrees. We're just going to cook the pizza for about 15 minutes. There you have it. Homemade, better than store-bought pizza. Enjoy.